When we were putting our Bitcoin fund together and I was looking at dollar volume in the money supply, at that time it was at 26%. If the stimulus is fully implemented, meaning we had 26% more dollars in circulation than over the past 244 years. If you put the whole stimulus in, which it will happen, that's another 16% more dollar formation. So you've got a 40% increase in dollar volume. That's going to show up in asset prices. And here's the thing that I worry about, because every time we do this, it's very, very good for people that own the assets. You get tremendous amounts of asset inflation, but the wages never catch up. You've got 20 plus million people unemployed if you look at the U6 numbers, and they can't catch up, Joe. And then that gap gets wider, and then the politics gets angrier and more loaded with populism. So we have to, it's a very complex thing right now. But the number one thing that I would recommend to people is have some defensive things in there. I personally think Bitcoin is a long-term hedge. If you really understand Bitcoin, you'll recognize why places like Morgan Stanley are coming into the space. It's a scarce asset. And as we were talking about last time I was on the show, that supply-demand imbalance plus the impregnability of the blockchain is going to make that asset very attractive in a world printing money like this.
Anthony, I can't attribute the action in gold to anything other than it's at least a percentage of those people are now buying Bitcoin and not gold, because gold, given that what you're describing, gold should be running right now. Is it going to Bitcoin?
The world is changing. That's the vinyl record, Joe. That's the vinyl record. The world's changing. This is
never did before with gold, Anthony. That's what people would say. I mean, you go back 4,000 years. Is it really changing this time? I mean, it kind of looks like it. Look at that.
Well, it was 1500 something where Copernicus said, we may be revolving around the sun. I mean, things do change. And so we have to look at it rationally, and we have to accept that if money is a technology that allows us to transfer goods and services to each other efficiently, the technology around us would likely improve money, which is a form of technology. And so Bitcoin has done that, and Bitcoin has slayed 8,300 competitors. It's the largest market cap of all the cryptocurrencies, 60 or 70% of the overall market cap, depending on where the prices are bouncing. And in a lot of ways, if you really study it, Joe, it's better than gold. It's easier to store. You can move it around more quickly. And that value and that trusted network is growing. It's 110 million now. By 2025, it'll be at 1 billion. And if we're right and it adopts pursuant to Metcalfe's law, you want to own some Bitcoin. And, be prudent. Anthony, you don't have to own a lot of it, but just own some of it.
Anthony, here's the question that I'm always grappling with Bitcoin, which is that right now the people who are in Bitcoin are speculating it's going to go up and go up significantly. 1x, 2x, 3x, 10x, right? This is a true speculation right now for people who are looking for real, outsized yield, if you will. But if you think of it as a store of, if you think of it as a commodity like gold, at some point there has to be a moment where actually it's not a 1 or 2x or 10x kind of yield. It's going to be a very low yield at all. You're just going to hold on to it. That's a totally different type of investor. And so the question is, do people who are in Bitcoin at some point say, you know what, actually the upside isn't there anymore. I'm going to take my money out and go look for the next one, and what that does to the price?
Okay, so that is a phenomenal intellectual discussion. I'll be brief. You're in that transitory period. This is sort of like where Amazon was in 2000. People couldn't believe its price movement. Then we looked at it again in 2009. It was a very big move over 12 years. Bitcoin is 12 years old. Yet if you bought Amazon after the 12th year, Andrew, you got a 64x return on your money from 2009 to 2021. And let me just step back for a second. If you bought Amazon on the public offering May 15th, 1997, the $10,000 that you put into it is worth $21,140,000 today. But Amazon now, 20 years later, is trading with more stability. I mean, it got a very big pop because of the pandemic, but just take a look at its long-term chart. And I think that will happen to Bitcoin once it fully scales. and you reach adoption levels over $1 billion, you're going to be, looking at that situation and saying, okay, it's way less speculative. One last point. Bitcoin got to $1 trillion faster than all of those companies, primarily because it's decentralized. And so now you're taking all of that C-suite drama and all the politics associated with it away from it. It is a fully scaling monetary network and store of value, and it's going to get there over the next 15 years.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.